Amazing. Yeah. Hello everybody. I'm back again. It is Dom. Seeking a thread once again. Making this as I'm essentially just posting to YouTube my last new vinyl in my life. I'm trying to play catch up for my own sort of edification, and so I have a whole bunch more records. Yeah, just catching up with life, being away, and catching up with streams and all of your videos and whatnot. Things are going okay. So let's get right into it. I mean, this section will be a little bit more rock based, some psych. A little over the place, less of the experimental and jazz. So we're listening to a new compilation by a group called Influenza Prods. This is pretty fascinating, I think. As you can hear, it's sort of minimal wave, little Young Marble Giants, but it's a duo, an Italian duo who met in London in the late 70s, who both were living there. And they would go on to make these tapes, 3 different tapes, sort of in the DIY culture that was going on at the time. Their names are Giovanna Giulianello and Bruno De Angelis. Made 3 tapes, and they call themselves the original home wave band from Italy. They would move back to Italy in '81 and live with each other in Rome. I think this is, I'm pretty sure, I'm not entirely sure, I'm pretty sure this is a compilation of the tapes. I'm not totally sure, actually. This could be unreleased recordings. I meant to check that, but it sounds like it's of that time for sure. These aren't like new recordings or anything like that. So this is Influenza Prods, Memoire, on the Left Ear label from this year, 2022. So that's what we got going for right now. Okay. I'm going to start with a country record. I never show a country. I do have a pretty decent sized collection of country. Kristofferson's first album, just called Kristofferson, right? Yeah. This is on Monument, a pretty big country label, and he's really, I don't know, it's in the original shrink. Now I got this, I was selling some, my cousin had some records in his family, and I basically, I helped sell them for them, and I took a couple aside, and I took this one aside. This one's actually pretty tough to find. It's not terribly expensive or anything, but you don't really usually see this. So, I'm going to adjust my light here. So, but this is not like a country record per se. I'd say country rock, a little bit sort of singer-songwriter, slight Creedence vibe. Yeah, this shrink is pretty gnarly. Maybe I'll take it off. But I really enjoyed this. It's got his version of Me and Bobby McGee on it, which he wrote, if you didn't know. And there's those Monument labels. Is there something else on? There's another one on here that Help Me Make It Through the Night. Is that the other one, the other big one he had? Anyway, Sunday Morning Coming Down is on here. Really, some of his great songs to me. So I kept this one. I was going to sell it, but I decided to keep it. So, yeah, a little Kristofferson. Sort of a little swampy. Like country rock vibe. Alright, here's something else. different vibe, a bootleg. We Are Not Vevo. A little related to the Influenza Prods we're listening to. All bands sort of coming out of the synth punk and maybe, I guess, Devo influence moment. US synth punk from 79 to 84. This is unofficial. These are all very rare singles. Like the Monomania that's on here, that's like a $2,000 single. All this stuff. I mean, I don't think I've heard of any of these bands. Twilight People, Lucky Pierre, that's something familiar. Peppermint Blaze Band, Fab Four with a PH, Teardrop Boy, the Steves. I mean, this is for serious deep punk collectors. Angry Mom George, he probably has some of these singles, but this is awesome. I mean, Energy Dome Records. So, I don't know, you may see this in record stores, you're not going to be able to buy this online. So I suggest looking for it. I think you should. If you like Devo like I do. Who doesn't like Devo? A fun one. And yeah, they really do all sound like they were listening to a lot of Devo, but definitely more on the punk side of things. 79 to 84, We Are Not Vevo. Always been collecting the Uzeda, the Italian post-punk sort of noise rock band out of, I forget what part of Italy, but they go back to the early 90s. And this is on Touch and Go, their EP. I'd been looking for this. People were asking too much for it, and finally, Human Head in New York had it for like $10. So it's 4 tracks, really quick. It's just called 4, an EP on Touch and Go. I almost have most of them, just about all the Uzeda stuff, except for the early 90s records. This is a new band, post-punk band. I like to sort of cherry pick some of the new post-punk coming out of the UK on the Upset the Rhythm label, this one, as well as on Harbinger Sound. Primo. This is all women. I don't think I showed this. I might have talked about this maybe. I don't know. But produced by Mikey Young of Eddie Current. Yeah, Upset the Rhythm is the label on this one. Really good. I mean, very simple songs, like, you know, nothing too elaborate. They're not going for the angular sound or anything really, more pop-ish, but it feels like post-punk to me. Primo, the record is called Sogni. Oh no, this is called yeah, it is called Sogni. This is, I think, a 2020 release, actually. Check this one out, Primo. New stuff. Here's an old one, but related. Girls at Our Best. Now, this is fun. Not a very well-known band, but this record got some play at the time. It's from 1980, a UK press. They were supposed to reissue this. I don't think it ever got here. But it's called Pleasure. I really want their first 2 singles, which are probably even better than what's on here, but this is definitely pretty much new wave, post-punk, but more definitely on the new wave side. Omaha Introvert. If you're watching, and sometimes you watch, Hannah, and you love this band. Girls at Our Best. Now, the cool thing about this pressing, and I was able to get this in the US, it comes with every single goddamn insert. Now, I wasn't necessarily holding out for all of that, but I was like hoping to. It's on the Happy Birthday label. Now, there are a lot of inserts, okay, and it comes with all of them, and it comes with some cool stuff. Some cool stuff. Number 1, the lyric insert. This band is, like I said, on the poppier side. We got a quiz game, so to figure out what this coded message is, if you figure out what the pictures stand for. A postcard, and it is original. Some water damage. The original sticker, pleasure sticker. We got a stencil, wear your very own Girls at Our Best pleasure symbol, just cut out stencil, blah 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 blah. And the elusive, yes, pleasure bag. I guess you can put all your stuff in there. It's almost like a barf bag. Look at that. All the accoutrements. How do you not like that? Should I put everything in the pleasure bag? I'm gonna do it. Anyway, it's a good record. Like I said, their singles are probably even better. So I'm looking for... Oh, I found one other thing. Wow, the original receipt. I don't think I'd seen that yet. $4.99. August 28th. It looks like... 81? Maybe 81. That's the original receipt. We'll keep that shit. So, good band. Alright. Out of the UK, if you didn't know. Girls at Our Best. And it's got the original Hypey Dipe sticker on it.
1, 2, go to Pleasure City Avenue. 3, 4, head for London for a treasure tour. Decorate the walls and doors, it makes them all look nice. Take the cat out for a walk and help it kill the mice.
Oh, this record's awesome. Going to the Flying Nun. I haven't been on a huge Flying Nun kick lately, but if I see an EP, an original EP that's in the US, I go for it, and I found this. Scorched Earth Policy, Dust to Dust. Awesome band. I forget what city they're out of. Let's see if it says. Recorded at Tandem Christchurch in 1984. The song Green Cigar, the first track, is one of the catchiest songs like ever. And look at why I like to collect Flying Nun. The artwork is always incredible. Sort of women and men in this band. I don't know if any of these folks went on to other stuff, but you have a lot of organ in this and some violin. Custom Flying Nun labels. Buttery, I'm wondering if he has this. I know he'll know the band. A bunch of you will know this band. Definitely a little bit lesser known. They have a compilation that I have called Going Through a Hole in Your Head that compiles all of their recordings, which I still have because this is just the first EP, 6 tracks. As you know, with Flying Nun, 45 RPM EPs was the name of the game. And this one is amazing. All 6 tracks are great. A little on the noisier side too, noisier punk side, not so poppy. Although there is some poppiness to it. Here's an interesting one. So this is a band I barely think I knew anything about, even their existence of. I've probably heard of them. Dave just showed a record with As the Mother's Temple in this band, and I got that coming as well. Reynolds out of Argentina. They go back to the early 90s, and this is a new record. A krautrock experimental sort of noise rock. I mean, look at these mutants. These guys look serious / ridiculous. This is on the Feeding Tube, a co-release with Feeding Tube out of Northampton, Mass. And Rochester, New York's Carbon Records, who we've been in touch with. Yeah, this band goes way back. It's an experimental rock band out of Argentina. They go to, I think, the 1990. And, recorded in Buenos Aires, 2018 to 2019. This is a new record. It's called Toln Asuner. Really good. If you like Faust and the more experimental side of krautrock, you definitely got to check this out. But it is Argentinian. I love it. Just came out on Carbon Records. You can find this on their Bandcamp. Here's a reissue of Woo's It's Cozy Inside. The Ives, I don't know why I always say Ivor, but the Ives brothers, Clive and Mark. This is from '89 originally, and I knew about this band for many years now. I've been looking for the originals. As you know, I like to collect original pressings if possible. And they've been asking too much for them. And Drag City Yoga Records has done these. Yoga is, I forget who, but it's a co-release with Yoga Drag City. So the Ives brothers been recording since the late 70s. Some of you brought up Woo, and sort of doing their own thing. I mean, it's hard to call. It's sort of a bit of fusion, a bit of psychedelic, a bit of just sort of private press, sort of home recording weirdness. Mostly instrumental, if not all instrumental. But Mark Ives plays the guitars, clarinet, bass, and voices. So, okay, there are some voices. And then Clive Ives, electronics, percussion, and violin. Very strange, otherworldly sounds. So hard to pin down and describe this kind of thing. Where do you file this? I don't even know. But I'm looking for their other records. I want their first. I think Drag City has done most of them. And they have many. They had a new record not too long ago. But this one's amazing. It's Cozy Inside. It says, bewitching instrumental sketches, crystalline jams, and oozed raw musical genius from the kind-hearted brothers of the British countryside. Ramona Gonzalez of Night Jewel says, it's Cozy Inside saved my life. I don't know if it saved my life, but it's making my life better. As I think records do. And music, importantly. Here's one I didn't know the reissue was still available. Alex, Motoric 247. Played it in the stream, I think it was. I saw him show it somewhere. But it's the Feedback, an incredibly rare Italian record. Now, I had known about this. I knew there was a reissue and figured it was out of print. And Alex showed it. And I was like, oh yeah, I never got that. And I decided to look it up, and it was still like $20. Okay, so the cool thing about this, it's the Feedback is the name of the group, and it's sort of a library, sort of psychedelic funk, avant-garde jazz mix, but it's essentially the Gruppo band, Gruppo Nuova, let's say there, Gruppo di Improvisazione Nuova Consonanza, the Italian collective, which included Ennio Morricone. This is them under a different guise, the Feedback, and it's just so cool. This is like worthy of the Psychedelic 100. I mean, I didn't have it, so it wouldn't have been included. It's certainly more on the avant-garde side of things, but if you like psychedelic and sort of more electronic or groovier based sounds, you'll love this record. Wonderful, great soundtrack sort of vibes. What do we have here? Oh, this one. Yes, this I won on an opening bid with an Angry Mom auction. You know, when we do consignments at the store, the employees aren't really able to get employee prices on those consignment records because the owners, the consignees, want to put them up for auction and see what they go for. So, but we're welcome to bid on them. And so this I got for an opening bid of like $15, maybe it was $20. But it's a Shadoks reissue of this private press Dyckman James independent study. Very rare, sort of studio folk record. Private press. I think it's from 71. The Shadoks label, you can't buy their records for less than $40 new. German. I don't know if they're. I think they're one of these sort of like gray area labels, but they do great work. They always put Stoughton sleeves on their records, high quality pressings. Don't know what the sourcing material ever is, but this is the kind of thing. I mean, you know, it's a private press folk sort of studio, like I said, studio jammy record on the psychedelic side of things. More of a singer-songwriter, I'd say. This one I couldn't tell you a whole lot more than that because I've heard it once, and I took a chance on it based on its sort of rarity, as we can do sometimes. But it's called Independent Study. Dyckman James.
Find ourselves in a free-form flight, rising above the earth like a released kite. We two settled in the sky, past the cirrus, we will fly. The sun soaks a channel, makes waffling greens. The wind as our master makes a wing careen. We're free.
I have a singer-songwriter and all. One I've not gotten any of his records because I've been really wanting to get his first album, Time of the Last Persecution, which has only been reissued in England and not imported here. I don't know what the story is with that. I think there was a 4-man with beards, which I can't stand, and that is even gone and going for money. But I want that first record. I've been waiting for that, but I decided these Dead Oceans, secretly Canadian related, has been doing these archival records with Bill Fay. This is volume 1. There's part 2 is coming. I don't know if I ordered part 2. I don't think I did. But this is all demo recordings of songs that would be on his early albums and Time of the Last Persecution. Still Some Light, it's called. I had a double CD of this, which is part 1 and part 2, so I know the material well. Bill Fay, if you don't know him, I mean, he's doing sort of the Leonard Cohen thing, English, but definitely more like a lot of guitar stuff going on. You could call it psych folk just because he is down and out. If you look at the cover of Time of Last Persecution, that is quite the cover. That looks like a dude who's lost it. Maybe I'll insert it here. But piano, guitar, bass, and drums. It is a quartet. Bill Fay writing and playing piano. Awesome. Here's a private press. something I took a chance on because the price was right. Out of Connecticut. Falls into the rural rock vein. I will say this is not incredible. Solid. Yes, a little bit juvenile, like not great musicians necessarily, but that can kind of sometimes be what appeals to me. It's called Burnt Sweet. This is the original pressing on, what is the label? BJW, whoever that is, but a private press. Yeah, kind of a rural rock with some sort of southern guitar jams sort of look to it. I mean, this cover will kind of tell you. But these guys wouldn't really do much else, of course. Here's the original label. You can see that. Burnt Sweet. Cool band name. I like it because it sounds like they're still figuring themselves out, and I like how that can sort of coalesce sometimes. A little bit guitar heavy for sure, but like kind of crunchy and rustic, and got that rural rock sound vibe that I like. Don't pay a lot for this. I got this for under what people are asking, so that's nice. But I still probably didn't need to buy this. Happy to have it for now. Happy to have it for now. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I think this next record I want to put on to play as I discuss. So yeah, what we're going to hear now is a reissue of a very, 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 very rare original record by, I talked to Chris Cole about this one, Princess Flower and the Moon Rays. I can never remember the title. Dreaming of the Magic of Your Maya. A sort of cosmic home recording mishmash. Different, well, let's play some of it. Alright, so here we have, now this is a duo recording in France. This is a 4-figure album, Stunty. If you happen to have this, I'd like to know, because it was a French release originally. Actually, no, I think it's actually, no, not true. It's a US release from 67 to 70, no, it's somewhere 68 to 70. A duo called, well, Ziska and Lauren. I believe they were Americans. Let's see. I don't believe they're French, but they were living in Paris. And they were sort of bohemians, sort of hippies. And they had this apartment, room number 22 at the Hotel Stella in Paris. And over a 3-month period in 67, while they were living, they just invited all these musicians to come and play with them. And every track is just a little bit different. Now you have David Allen of Gong ends up on this. At the time when he was sort of getting Gong going, when he was working with Gilly Smith. And yeah, it has like this Eastern thing happening, and yeah, people associated with Don Cherry were coming through this. It's sort of just a free-floating, kind of folk, kind of psych, kind of Eastern, sort of spiritual record. Really sort of interesting, I think. Here's the music. There's someone else on here that I'm forgetting that sort of. But you have Fej Mornin playing guitar, Raja Samyana percussion, Lauren Stanley vocals, flute, harp, and there you see David Allen is on side B. Oh right, this is a double LP. It comes with the second album of Unreleased, which is cool. Recorded at Apostolic Studios, the Vanguard Apostolic Studios, 1970 when they moved back. But the other stuff was recorded in Paris, spring 1968. And this is a wah-wah reissue. So, I don't know, I hope all that made sense. The seller sent me a record that had a bad scratch. I had to get it replaced. I actually bought it before he could give me my money back, and then he refused to give me my money back, saying, I'm going to send you another copy. I'm like, how do you have another copy of this? This reissue is like 12 years old. Somehow the seller did, and but just insisted I get another copy of it, so I wanted the money back because I loved it so much I ordered it from another seller like right away before I even heard a reply back from the first seller. So I ended up giving this to George and Anger Mom because I knew he'd love it. But if you don't have this, check this out. The reissue's out there. So we're going to hear that. Long story. Okay. Here's the one. I think I showed this briefly because I got this in Canada, in Montreal. I just finally make my way through it. Sex, The End of My Life. Really good progadelic. Return to Analog reissue. This was like $17 Canadian, and sort of a good one to grab there. Certainly on the prog end of things, but I love it for its sort of T2 moves, and I'm not going to say much more about it. I just finally got around to really digging into that. Got this at 33 Tour in Montreal. 500 copies of that. Brand new album from Glenn Jones, guitarist extraordinaire, American primitive, friend of John Fahey and Robbie Basho. I did a whole feature video on him, which I'll link to, but this is the brand new album on Thrill Jockey. Not a whole lot to say here, really, either, because he's just really doing more of the same, or by more of the same, I mean amazing. Red vinyl, clear Thrill Jockey. A dish. I love this guy, doing instrumental guitar. I think Mazzy got interested in him, and again, another one of these vintage postcard covers. More great music from Glenn Jones, doing spacious, sort of beautiful, languid instrumental guitar and banjo. This just came out like a week or two ago. This one, is this also? No, this is on Three Lobes, another great label, I think out of Chicago, but this is Mary Lattimore, the harpist, with a musician I don't know, Paul Sakina, West Kensington. I have a few records by Mary Lattimore I really dig. Doing that sort of, spacey, spectral harp sound. But this is with guitar and mellotron. This is what Paul Sakina is playing. Mastered by Carl Saff, the legendary Carl Saff, of course. I mean, that's what I have to say about it. Certainly an ambient record for the modern times, I guess you could call it. Very beautiful. I highly recommend Mary Lattimore if you don't know her. A lot of great records, and she's got a lot of different collaborations that she's done. I think she's out of Philly, if I remember correctly. But it says Lattimore also playing synths in tandem with guitars and mellotron of Sakina, who's played with Steve Gunn, Angel Olsen, and Spacin, to create miniature universes. File among Eno's explorations and Alice's meditations. Hype sticker, baby. Hype, that's good hype right there. Another new band. This is ex-members of Ought, Canadians Ought. This is sort of a bit of a Parquet Courts, sort of post-punk, a little bit mathy. Cola is the name of the band, Deep in View. This is on the Fire Talk label, a label I know of but don't have much on there. Love this. This is good, man. Sort of catchy, sort of hypnotic guitar lines, and I like the vocals. They're a brand new band. It's two members of Ought, Tim Darcy and Ben Stidworthy. Cola, Deep in View. Some of you would like this. Vinyl Douche would dig it, maybe even Digital Gramophone. Check them out. If you like Ought, you definitely should hear it.
I feel it at the bone, telling me you can't get away. And if you are so excited, and you are so invited.
Here's a vintage 90s indie rock band who's still around. And this is one of a record I know very well. I've had on CD forever. Always wanted the record. No one has been reasonably selling it until now. Got this for the $20 price tag it deserves. But I mean, in terms of obscurity, but this is worth $300, man. Not really. Swearing at Motorists, number 7 Uptown from 2000 on Secretly Canadian. It's a duo, Dave Dolman, kind of doing a GBV thing, and I think they're from Dayton too. Sort of mini crunchy rock epics that are just a little like, Guided by Voices, and a little punkier maybe. No, that's not true. No, at times, but then there's like some sort of slower stuff too. But it's all electric guitar based. I don't think there's much acoustic. The song "Flying Pizza," fantastic. All-time favorite song, honestly, an all-time favorite song. Here's the lyric insert. Dave Dolman and Don Is it Don Thrasher? A little bit of other instrumentation on it, but it's mainly just guitar and drums with a few other accoutrements. Recorded in Dayton, Ohio. Recorded in 98, released in 2000. This band is still going. I didn't know that, and they have many records. I'd like to check out some more, but this is the one I've always dug, so I just have been looking for that one. So.
How's your mom? And are you working the same days? Your hair got long, and on and on.
A little bit of funk, soul, R&B. Until recently, I had 0 Curtis Mayfield records, and you know why? Because I don't want to buy them online, and I just don't see them all that often, or I always miss them. Angry Mom finally got 2 of the ones I wanted. I still want Roots, but Back to the World, I want Kurt Tom, 1973, and a German pressing of Curtis. This one's amazing. Of course, it's got that "Don't worry if there's hell below, we're all gonna go," sort of hellish, and you know, he was really saying it like it is. Curtis is from what, 71 on this. This is a German pressing of this. This came into Angry Mom, as did the other one, which is the way I wanted it to be. I wanted them to come to the store because they're not uncommon. I mean, yeah, they're not exactly. I mean, they're obviously not rare, but you know, I just don't see them that often, and I knew at some point they'd come to the store, and the times they had, I just must have missed them. So I'll show those quick. These next two back to Record Fair here in Ithaca, which, God, that's how far behind I am. Was that in April or May? Anyway, something like that. One of them was Kraftwerk, which I've shown a few times, the original version of Ralph and Florian, or the UK edition. But here's the other 2 records I got. I don't think I've shown these yet. John Appleton, Syntonic Menagerie, his first album on Flying Dutchman. This was a bargain based on this from a seller who does not usually give bargains. This is right before his collaboration with Don Cherry. Doing electronics. This is a white label promo there. Now I've only heard this one once as I'm talking about it, I realize that. What do you think of this Dreaming of the Maya, Princess Flower? It's sort of all this sort of meandering, sort of gibberish, which I say that in the best of ways. But here's John Appleton, a great composer. It's been discussed. I think most people agree, or have said the same. The John Appleton Don Cherry record's only okay, and I don't own that. But recorded by Bob Thiele. Appleton doing electronic soundscapes. The other record I got there, and I realize I overpaid for this, but it is clean. I've always wanted to get some Last Poets records, I've just not done it, so I got this one on Blue Thumb, another favorite label of mine. I just like to collect when I can. Don't know why, I just like the Blue Thumb. But this is Chastisement, that spiritual funk that Last Poets are doing. We're doing. The first track was my favorite, tribute to Ogun. You know, very political, of course. You know, certainly if you like Gil Scott-Heron, you need to check out The Last Poets. Great record from 72, I think it is. Great cover, too. Take a look at that cover. Last Poets also got at the Ithaca Record Fair. And this was in here, too. I didn't realize this was here. This was from my New York. Last time I dug in New York and went to some shops in New York back in, February, March. Tarmasahino got this for $10, the reissue of Journey to Air. Talking with Mr. Ambassador of the VC, Dave, now. You know, certainly a nuclear record. This is free jazz at its most free. But I really love it. I like what it did. Dave Liebman doing percussion on here. Steve Grossman, Pete Yellen, Gary Pribick. Dave Holland is on here too. Bobby Moses, Oludara, and Teruo Nakamura. Journey to Air. I dug this though. I found that it didn't totally, shock the system in the way that free jazz can. So, in any case, I think I moved through these a little quicker. That's all I have. What else? Do I have any other announcements? Not really. I'm going to work on a few other more sort of theme-based videos, and just try to enjoy the summer here. I got various trips coming up. Probably another trip down to New York. Maybe a trip somewhere else. We'll see. And a trip to Philly in August. My wife and I are going to see Fleet Foxes on our anniversary. So I will hopefully and most definitely we'll have 2 nights there. I'll most definitely be hitting some shops there. I've been to Philly a whole bunch and I know some great stores there, so I'm looking forward to that. And I've been I got plenty more new records to go through, and I've been buying a few things online a little bit. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Been really enjoying all the usual channels. You all know who you are, and even digging into some new ones this week. So in any case, that's where I'll leave it. Hope everyone is doing good out there today on a Thursday as I record this. Take care. Peace.